Morning, Bridge. Yesterday was Melancholy Monday, but today I am back at you, firing on all cylinders, which is more than can be said for the car, but little wins. Now, I've been doing some thinking, I think, Bridge, and I always tell the children every action has a consequence. And sometimes they're good consequences, sometimes they're bad consequences. Now we know that the action of adding VAT onto education is having many bad consequences. Not only for the finances and the statistics, which I can't bother to go into, we've done it 1,000 times before, but also for the fact that you've brilliantly managed to divide parents on some levels. We've got some parents celebrating the closure of private schools and some celebrating that kids are going to have their education disrupted. That's right, they're celebrating it, Bridget. Nice. You can have that one. That's on you. The other consequence that I've been reading about a little bit is parents are raiding pensions to pay for their children's education to finish it off. Now, they were paying into their pensions, which is always a good thing because the more pension they've got, the less the state has to provide. But now they're not, and they're raiding it. So here's one of those little consequences that you and Rach won't have thought of. I mean, we know Rachel won't have thought of it. Goodness me, she's still struggling with basic arithmetic. So if you raid your pension pot, there's going to be less in it for when you need it. If there's less in it for when you need it, what will you do? You will go to the state. That's right. So here we are saying that we're going to take money from the private school people because they're all minted, and we're going to put it into state school to fix state school. Only we know that the private school parents aren't minted and they can't afford it. So for those who are hanging on in there, they're raiding pension pots. Now, they are not going to be minted when it's pension time, are they? Because they've spent it all on the kids' education that you slapped 20% on. I know you said, well, we told everyone we were going to do it. We all hoped you weren't going to get in. Oh, gosh, if I could rewind the clock. Anyway, what's done is done. You are in. Yeah. And you've slapped 20% on education. Only education, we need to say, for 4 to 18-year-olds. So we've discriminated, haven't we? And we've discriminated against a minority because we've slapped VAT on education just for private school kids. No one else. Nice. Well done, Bridge. I'll do the dictionary definition of oppression with you later. You'll like that one. So now we've got parents that can't afford the fees, and some of them are remortgaging houses. That's another one that that's a whole video. We need to talk about that. Let's talk about pensions for now. They are raiding their pension pots, which means that there will be less in the pot for when they need it when they retire, which means that the state is going to have to pick up the slack. So not only is this VAT raid not actually going into state schools because there is no money to go into state schools because the parents haven't got the money, even though that you said that they would. And even though you said that schools wouldn't close, we're seeing that schools are closing. And even though you keep saying that happens all the time, it's business. Well, yes, it does happen all the time. It is business, but normally we don't have 20% on VAT and national insurance hikes at the same time. So more schools are closing. Does that sound better for you, Bridge? It's still your fault, but So schools are closing, parents can't afford it, pension pots are getting smaller, the state will be required to fund those parents in later life. There is consequence, Bridge. As a consequence of your actions, you are costing the state more on every level. Yeah, you're not going to get through GCSE maths, you pair. I'd give up now. Why don't you go and do one of your, what are you calling it? The math skills for life or something. Go and do one of those in your apprenticeship in learning how to be an MP.